Hello all, I'm back with a new concept, regression. Very useful and interesting topic. Let's move on to the contents. In this video, we are going to cover meaning, definition, types, uses and applications of regression. Let's start with meaning. It is a measure of the relation between the mean value of one variable and corresponding values of other variables that attempts to determine the strength and character of the relationship between one dependent variable and a series of other variables generally known as independent variables. This regression is a statistical method that helps us to analyze and understand the relationship between two or more variables of interest. Let's see the definition of regression. In regression, we try to regress the value of the dependent variable with the help of the independent variables. Here the mathematical notation for this is y is equal to f of x, where y is a dependent variable and f of x is the function in terms of independent variables. The process that is adapted to perform this regression analysis helps to understand which factors are important, which factors can be ignored, and how they are influencing one another. Here there are two types of variables, like dependent variable and independent variable. Dependent variable is the variable that we are trying to understand or forecast. Independent variables are factors that influence the analysis or target variable and provide us with information regarding the relationship of the variables with the target variable. Now let's see how many types of regressions are there. There are two types, linear and non-linear. Under linear again we have simple and multiple, that is simple linear regression and multiple linear regression. Under non-linear also we have simple non-linear regression and multiple non-linear regression. Linear regression is the simplest of all regression types, where it tries to establish relationship between independent and dependent variables. The dependent variable considered here is always a continuous variable. It is a predictive model used for finding the linear relationship between a dependent variable and one or more independent variables. If it is depending on one independent variable, then it is simple linear regression. If it is depending on more than one independent variable, we term it as multiple linear regression. Whereas non-linear regression is a form of regression analysis in which observational data are modeled by a function which is a non-linear combination of the model parameters and depends on one or more independent variables. And here again, if it is depending on one independent variable, then it is a non-linear regression. When it is depending on more than one variable, then simply it is multiple non-linear regression. For all this, I am going to make separate videos. Don't miss that videos too. Now, let's see what are the uses of regression. It summarizes the data. That is, when we plot the data on XY chart, it is more informative, and that plotted curve summarizes a scatter of the points. All observers are focused on the same interpretation of the data. It also allows us to predict. Predictions made from the equation are better than reviewing historical data to find a value that was very close to the desired X value and seeing what the corresponding Y value was, where X is an independent variable and Y is a dependent variable. The selected Y may by chance have a large residual and not be representative the majority of the data. This can be done by using a regression model. It also tries to interpret the coefficient. In many cases, the regression parameters have a useful physical interpretation. The coefficient for X indicates how much change occurs in Y for each unit change in X. Not only this, it is also useful to estimate the average relationship between two variables. It is widely used in social science like economics. It is also useful to forecast the business situations and to estimate the error in sampling. Now let's move on to the applications of regression. There are so many fields where we use the regression analysis. Here I listed a few among them. First of all, medicine. To forecast the different combination of medicines to prepare generic medicines for diseases, we use the regression analysis concept. It is also useful in research work to formulate and determine the functional relationship between two or more variables, and in establishing a cause and effect relationship between two variables. It helps in predicting and estimating the value of dependent variable such as price, production, sales, etc. It helps to measure the variability or spread of values of a dependent variable with respect to the regression line. It is useful in agricultural sciences. For example, if we want to develop a suitable model to predict current milk production from a set of measured variables. Samples are taken once a month during milking. Then, here the current month. It is useful in agricultural sciences. For example, if you want to develop a suitable model to predict current milk production from a set of measured variables. In such cases, we can go for the regression analysis. We also use the regression analysis in marketing to understand the effectiveness of market campaigns, forecast pricing and sales of the product. Not only these fields, we use the regression analysis in so many fields like finance to understand the trend in the stock prices, forecast the prices, evaluate risks in the insurance domain. Not only this, we also use the regression analysis in so many fields such as financial industry to understand the trend in the stock prices, forecast the prices, evaluate risks in the insurance domain, and in marketing to understand the effectiveness of market campaigns, forecast pricing and sales of the product. And also we use this techniques in business field to understand or the future production, investment analysis and forecasting on sales, etc. we can do with the help of this regression analysis. So these are the applications of regression analysis, and this is the end of my video. In the next video, I am going to talk about the simple linear regression, its properties and applications. Don't forget to watch it. Choose joy, choose happy, and choose to shine. Thank you so much for watching this video.